Today we're going to be ranking the different school subjects on a range from gas to good to acceptable to mid as fuck to ass and then never had for a class that I've never taken, so it's not fair to rate them. For all these subjects here, this is what the basic subjects that most schools in the US offer. Now, I will be putting these subjects in the tiers based off, number one, how enjoyable it was, obviously, how fun it was it a cool experience, did it make me learn something new, and then number two being how good it will be for the real world afterwards, because you always hear people saying, oh, I'm learning this shit in math that we'll never use later on. And it's a valid point. It is subjective because of the enjoyment, but there's also some objectivity as well. Now, let's stop yapping. Let's get into it right away. So, number one, we got chemistry, the first subject. Now, it's a science subject, and what I gotta say is that I thought it was pretty hard. It was stuff that we had to learn, like Newton's law, Punnett squares, different equations, these different bonds, these properties, these liquids. If you like math and science, combine those together, and you're gonna love the fuck out of chemistry. Because that was one of the problems I had with chemistry, is that there was just too much math involved. For me, it just didn't make it enjoyable at all. I didn't like all this math because, unfortunately, I'm not a math guy. So if I'm not a math guy and they combine it with chem, it just isn't really a good combination for me. And the teacher was kind of strict as well for me, even though that's more of a personal thing, like which teacher you got. So I don't like to bring the teacher too much into these conversations. But the one saving grace is that I did have cool experiments. And I gotta say that you do have more experiments in chemistry than you do in biology and other science subjects like that, at least for what I dealt with. That was pretty cool. You playing with fire, buying these different mixtures, going through a microscope, going outside for certain things, looking at the sky, different shit like that. For the real world usefulness, it ain't really that useful if you want to be a chemistry teacher yourself or chemist later on. So I gotta put this in mid as fuck. I didn't really like this shit. It's just hard as hell, the test, especially the test. We had groups of 3 and 4 sometimes, and we would discuss in our group, and we still couldn't figure out with 3, 4 people. So it was fucking hard. It makes me just stressed out thinking about that 2 years ago. Now, biology. If you don't know the differences between chemistry and biology, they're both science subjects, but biology is different stuff about science. This is more about planets, wildlife, certain things about our land, and more just Earth-like, grounded, realistic things. And I gotta admit, I enjoy this more. This is more of an interesting topic for me in terms of science in general. I don't really give a fuck about these equations and shit, H2O plus, whatever. Because that was the thing with the chemistry curriculum that we had. There was so much periodic table shit. I'm telling you, half of the fucking year was all about the periodic table, and I got sick of it. So biology, there wasn't any of that periodic table shit. There wasn't any chemical properties you had to deal with, and the mass number, the atomic number, all that shit, right? Jesus, man. It literally gives me a headache almost thinking about it. Biology, the work wasn't as hard. It was just more relaxing. The only thing was that the experiments were not as cool and whatnot. There weren't as many. But it makes up with the fact that it was easier work. That's what makes up for it. So I got to put biology in acceptable. There's a little more real world use compared to chemistry. Next, we have physics. Now, physics is science again, but a harder thing. We have AP physics in our school, which is like a higher level. And I'm not high enough level, so I never qualified for physics. Now, judging by the looks of it, there's a lot of equations again. So never had. It's not fair to judge, but if I had to judge, I'd probably put it in mid as fuck as well. Next, we're moving on from the science bullshit, got out of the way, and now we're on to history. I'm telling you something right now about history. One thing I gotta say right away is that history teachers are the most fucking chill. Something about these history teachers, they're usually old. That's why they choose history, because they know so much about the history of our country. They just like to just get into these topics deeply. That's what I've found out. And some of it is actually interesting, especially stuff that they talk about that's current, versus like stuff way back. This is what makes it more useful in the real world, is when they talk about stuff currently going on. Not too much in the politics, but kind of like our country and world at the moment, or for the last 20, 50 years, whatever. But they start talking about stuff from like the 1600s, lose a little bit of interest. It is so far back, but it's pretty cool to learn about the history of where the fuck you live. And that's why there is more real world use to it, because, would you rather be learning about Punnett squares or how the fucking presidents are elected? It's more, I guess, applicable to our real life. History is pretty cool, man. I'm gonna put good. It was definitely a good class. Next, we have writing / language arts / English. So English, whether you like it or not, is probably the most essential subject out of every subject ever. You are in America and you're using the language English. You need to be learning the language, because you hear people talking with English all the time. You need to be good with words, and the better you speak, the better life you'll kind of have. People respect you more to be able to just seem more professional, which can get you far in the business world. So, language arts, it is useful. Grammar, all that shit. The only problem is that it is boring as fuck. History might not be as useful as English, but it's certainly less boring than English. That's the problem with English. Usually in my curriculum that I've had to deal with, we're just going through books and books and books. I wish they would get more into just the nitty-grittiness of the language English and just writing techniques, certain words, speaking skills, just more real world applicable stuff, not just books. English teachers they can be a mixed bag, I can tell you right now. For English, because of the real world use, I gotta put it in literally not that bad. I mean, essays, they do suck, but as long as you're just paying attention, it's good. It's a pretty good class. But I could accept why it's acceptable. I'm being lean here. I'm being generous with these placements. I don't want to be so fucking hateful, you know? Like, these subjects are here for a reason. School's here for a reason in the first place. Next, we have math. General math. This is like, you know, your addition, your subtraction, your multiplication, your division. Just general algebra. There's definitely different types of math. We're going to get right into geometry after this. But in terms of, like, general and algebra math, I always found it to be easier than geometry. It's just using numbers. It just depends on what kind of grade you're in and level. I don't really fuck with math too much. Math, for people, you always hear the most complaints in math because it's, I gotta admit, it is one of the hardest subjects out of all of these subjects. Before high school, math was kind of easy, I gotta admit. But then once algebra and geometry came around, shit stepped up. This is the worst case of real world usefulness. None of this shit in math you're gonna need to use later on. I'm telling you, fucking telling you. In terms of tests, math tests are easily the worst of all these subjects. English, even over English essay tests, over history tests, where it is basically just memorization, right? That's the problem with these core subjects. It's all about, like, if you can remember this stuff, especially like history. You know, with electives, you have way more leeway in terms of how you're being graded. You don't have to be strictly graded on what's right or what's wrong. How much can you memorize? If you can't memorize certain things, you're probably going to get the answer wrong. It really just comes down to memory, which sucks. So math, I've always struggled with math the most in all my years. It's always been like one of the lowest grades. I got to say, it's kind of ass. But when it's easy math, then it's not ass. I mean, math teachers, they can be iffy as well. Let's put it that way. Next, geometry. I mean, I gotta say, in my school, I've heard mixed things where people would say, "Oh, I prefer algebra," and then the other crowd would be like, "Nah, I prefer geometry. Algebra's fucking stupid. Geometry's easy. It's just whatever." Geometry, it's basically all about shapes. It was in 10th grade we did geometry. It basically went, 9th grade was algebra 1, 10th grade was geometry, 11th grade was algebra 2, and then now in 12th grade we have this thing called finite math. You could have either taken that or statistics. I just chose finite math because all I asked the teacher the year prior wanted to know which class I wanted for 12th grade. I just asked them what's the easier class out of two, and they just chose finite. So it's just more general math. Statistics is more specific on that one thing. They're both kind of the same, I've heard. But with geometry, I hated it. It was even worse than algebra for me. I fucking hate dealing with shapes. I'd rather deal with numbers than shapes, personally. God, those tests were crazy, man. They were fucking crazy. I don't even want to think about it. Ugh. I'm going to put ass. Straight up ass. I might put math in mid as fuck, because math, like, there's certain parts of math that are actually bearable, but geometry was not bearable. It wasn't. It was a joke. No real world usefulness as well. Now, the opposite of that is financial literacy. There is so much real world usefulness to this. Who doesn't want to learn about money, management skills, business skills, you know, certain accounting skills, anything to do with finance? This is the class. And I'm the type that is really into money, especially with my mom being into money. I want to make sure that I'm not going to waste this money. I literally got $200 for Christmas one year, and I spent most of that on V-Bucks. Now I don't even play really video games anymore. So what are those skins doing that I bought with the V-Bucks? Sitting in the locker, man. I'm telling you, if we could get a refund on all of our skins in Fortnite, they would lose hundreds of millions of dollars. The amount of people that just don't give a fuck about cosmetics anymore, astronomically high. But let's stop digressing here. Financial literacy, and it's not even like boring either. It's actually kind of interesting to learn about money because you want to learn about deposits, checks, savings account. I'm going to put this as the first thing in gas, right? We have 3 in good, and financial lit is obviously better than all 3 of those, so we're going to put in gas. Next, we have foreign language, another bullshit class, and the only reason I had to take this was because it was a requirement. I had to do 2 years of language as a requirement to graduate. Depending on your school, you could have Spanish, you could have Portuguese, you could have French. Those are the 3 I had in my school. And I just chose Spanish out of the 3 because it seems like the most popular and commonly used one out of the 3. Although Portuguese and Spanish are similar, but not quite. I want to talk about memory being the only thing that matters. Passing this class, it's this class right here. Because, dude, it's so hard to learn a new language just in general. And when you have a class with an teacher and all these dumb kids that are distracting you, how are you supposed to learn this language, especially in just 2 years? It's so hard. All these words I have to memorize. It was 9th and 10th grade that I took. I just took it the first years of my high school thing just to get over with. So that way 11th and 12th I could just kind of like cruise on through. But, dude, I don't even remember any Spanish words. 2 years of taking language, I don't remember jack shit. So that goes to show you how poop it was. In terms of real usefulness, I gotta admit, it does have some usefulness. You will be sometimes speaking to a foreign person, and if you're able to communicate to them in their language, maybe make a new friend, maybe make a new business deal with them or a new partner, whatever. I mean, they could bring new fresh stuff to the table. It could just be fun, I guess, for certain people to learn a new language and to dip their toes into different cultures and stuff. Because that's the other thing with the class. It's not just learning a new language. You're kind of learning the whole culture of Spain or whatever. So, yeah, the tests were a joke. I failed many tests. I barely passed. Thank God that's over. That was straight up dookie. Now we're into the electives. This is where shit changes because that shit was like forced things that you have to do. Now we have painting. And I got to put this in gas right away. Dude, with all these core subjects, the problem is grade is dependent on if you get an answer right or wrong. But with painting, there's no such thing as getting the drawing right or wrong. It's all creativity. It's doing your best. You have way more leeway because if a teacher sees you trying hard and putting an effort on a painting project, but yet still doesn't look that great, they're probably going to give you still a very good grade because you tried, right? You tried to mix these colors, you tried to do this, you tried to do that. They saw you struggling, and even if it didn't turn out great, they would grade you well. Whereas with, fucking math and shit, it's just multiple choice usually, and if you circle the wrong one, that's it. There's no creative juices that are flowing compared to painting or just art in general. There's so many different types of art. You have drawing class, you have ceramics, you have fucking painting. We're all fun equally. I think if I had to choose one, I would do painting though, because I just love vibrant colors. It's so good to the eye. It's so appealing to the eye. So cool to mix these colors and see what you can do. I even have a lighthouse that I made here in 8th grade. Look at this fucking lighthouse. I have a picture. Oh man, I remember that. That was fucking fun as fuck to do. But yeah, that's just gas. It's always good to know to be able to design stuff. This could help with your designing processes of your business later on, Next, we have music. Another gas class. You want to know why? Because this is also a fun thing where you get to be creative. You get to make any different type of music. Now, I've taken general music class in elementary and whatnot, and then middle school they had different types like drumming class, guitar class, and then the band club. I have one regret I gotta say that I have is not being a band kid. I'm in 12th grade now. We're about to leave, so I have no real point in like getting so deep into this band shit. I'm about to leave high school in like 5 months. But if this was like 9th grade, I would be getting right into band. I'm telling you, the whole band community is so tight knitted. It just seems so fun. You're going on all these field trips, you're performing. Even if you mess up, there's so many other people doing their instrument, and your mess up will be covered up. Y'all are just united. The sounds are great. It's just, man, I don't want to think about it. But music class, band, that shit is so fucking fun. My favorite instrument is the guitar. So right now, I am taking guitar class in school for the whole year. To pass the school day, man, music class is the shit. Next, you have technology. So this is pretty broad. This could be like computer science, cybersecurity, computer engineering, whatever. I've taken a couple of those. I think I've taken cybersecurity last year. Technology can be interesting, man. There's a lot of, because it's the new thing now in this new generation, it actually is very important to learn some of this stuff. There's definitely real world usefulness. And I don't think it's that boring either. I think it's pretty enjoyable to kind of learn and be a little bit of a geek, learn about technology, because that's really what we're using every day of our lives is our phone, scrolling. Learning about not getting hacked is pretty good in my opinion. So I'm going to put this in good. Yeah, definitely good. Better than these other ones, to be honest. I could rank them in the tiers themselves, I think music's better than art. Chemistry's better than math. Geometry versus foreign language. Ooh, I'd rather do geometry. I swear to God, language was a joke. I don't care. I only did it because it was a fucking requirement. All right. Now, woodworking. This is like your construction class and whatnot. Unfortunately, I never took this class. There's only so many periods in a day. There's only so many classes you can do. This never happened. I ended up choosing like stuff like technology classes instead, mainly because of friends. From what I've heard, construction does seem very chill. Like the teachers are very chill. You get to build stuff. You get to literally just be a man and feel like you're this and that. I think that if I were to do it, it would be probably in the good category, but it's not fair because I've never really taken it, so I'm going to put it never had. Last but not least, saving the best for last. You know where I'm going to put this, right? You know where I'm going to put this. Bam, right there. Number one. Why wouldn't it be? It's literally, I have a fitness channel, right? So you know where gym guy's going to be. Number one, I fucking love gym. If I could have like 3-4 gym classes in a day, I would do it. I'm a fitness guy at heart, so anything physical related, fitness related, I'm all for it, man. There's so many different activities I can do. For the fat kids, though, that is definitely one of their least favorite subjects. And I bet you if they weren't fat, they would enjoy it more. Lose some fucking weight, and then you'll be able to enjoy just moving around and doing what you're supposed to, doing what your body is designed to do. I have a whole video right here about how to make your body love you. This includes moving around, walking, just doing basic cardiovascular stuff. I mean, our PE class, they usually have like the best teachers too, and you get to do so many activities. It's basically meant to be a break from the monotonous classes during the other parts of the school day. If you have that gym class right in the middle of the day to break everything up, oh, golden, fucking golden, mwah, fucking A. Volleyball we could do, basketball game. Pick up basketball games in the gym with your friends is a top experience for sure. Also, like the weight room, if your school has a weight room, ours does, and a wellness center with machines. The weight room is more for free weights, wellness center is more for machines. And then we have this like fitness game area where they do like the main fitness game that could be mat ball, floor hockey, speedball, which they've stopped speedball because people have been getting way too injured on that shit. People take that shit way too seriously. And even football, tag football before. So here we go. This is the tier list right here. I think it's very accurate. You definitely notice a trend of the electives being the highest and the cores being down below because it's just more fun. In middle school, we got chosen our electives, but in high school, we're able to choose our own. And it's basically what you want to do. It's your hobby. So this is the tier list here. Comment below whether or not you agree with this tier list. I would love to know. I'll reply to everyone and discuss. I'm here to do so. But yeah, don't forget to drop a like and check out that video up here. I'll see you next time.